Adiswa, the merchant of cunning and fortune. In the ancient city of Oyo, where traders from distant lands gathered in the great market, there lived a merchant named Adiswa. She was known for her sharp mind, her golden tongue, and, above all, her insatiable hunger for wealth. Adiswa could sell a grain of sand for the price of gold and convince a starving man to trade his last meal for a promise of fortune. But she had one flaw: she trusted no one. In business, trust is a fool's game, she would say. Only the cunning survive. One evening, as the market stalls were being packed away and the lanterns flickered in the dusk, an old woman approached Adiswa's shop. Her eyes, clouded with age, glowed with an eerie wisdom. She held out a small, ornate mirror, its surface dull and cracked at the edges. "A gift for a woman of great ambition," the old woman rasped. Adiswa, always skeptical, narrowed her eyes. "What kind of gift?" "This is no ordinary mirror," the woman whispered. "It reveals the true nature of those who gaze upon it. With it, you will see the hearts of men, and you will know who to trust and who to deceive." Adiswa's interest was piqued. With such a tool, she could outwit any rival, expose false friends, and seize even greater fortunes. "How much do you ask for it?" she inquired. The old woman smiled, her lips curling like the edges of a forgotten scroll. "No gold, no silver. Only a promise. Use it wisely." Adiswa, convinced she had gained the upper hand in yet another deal, eagerly agreed. The mirror's deception. That night, under the glow of an oil lamp, Adiswa held up the mirror. To her shock, the reflection staring back was not her own. It was a monstrous version of herself, her eyes sharp and predatory, her smile twisted with greed, her fingers long like claws grasping for riches. She recoiled, dropping the mirror onto her wooden table. "A trick," she muttered. "It must be an illusion." Determined to test its magic, she took the mirror to the marketplace the next day. She held it up to her customers, her rivals, and even her friends. A kind old woman's reflection appeared as a vulture. A humble farmer looked like a sly fox. A fellow trader, whom she had once trusted, had the eyes of a serpent. "Ah," she thought, "now I see the truth." And so, she changed the way she did business. She raised her prices for those she deemed untrustworthy. She severed friendships with those who looked like beasts. She refused to trade with those whose reflections showed weakness. With each passing day, her greed deepened. Yet, something strange began to happen. Her once thriving business faltered. Customers stopped coming. Rivals whispered behind her back. The marketplace, which had once been a place of laughter and bartering, grew cold and distant around her. Adiswa couldn't understand it. The mirror had shown her the truth. Had it not? The price of deception. One evening, as she sat alone in her shop, she picked up the mirror once more, hoping to find some answer. But this time, something was different. The mirror no longer reflected monsters in others, it only showed her. And she was no longer the powerful, cunning merchant she had believed herself to be. She was hollow. Her face, once full of pride, was now twisted by suspicion. Her hands, which once counted coins with confidence, trembled with doubt. Then, in the reflection, the old woman reappeared behind her, whispering softly, "You saw not the truth of others, but the shadow of your own heart." Adiswa gasped, turning around, but the old woman was not there. The mirror trembled in her hands, and with a final, haunting whisper, it shattered into 1,000 pieces. And with it, her world crumbled. Her wealth was meaningless, her empire built on falsehoods. She had spent so long distrusting others that she had become the very thing she feared, a monster of her own making. The lesson of the mirror. From that day forward, Adiswa changed. She spoke with kindness, traded with fairness, and sought to rebuild the trust she had destroyed. Though the mirror was gone, its lesson remained. The greatest deception is not what we see in others, but what we refuse to see in ourselves. And so, the people of Oyo whispered of the merchant who had once sought the truth but had nearly lost herself in the illusion of her own greed. Moral of the story: greed distorts perception. When you seek dishonesty in others, you may be blind to the deceit in yourself. True wealth lies not in riches, but in the trust and goodwill of others. The end.